everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chandana Banerjee, and today I wanted to talk to you about a few fun resources that you can use to make your homeschooling come alive. I am a homeschooling mom to a 6.5-year-old rambunctious boy. And right now, I know a lot of you might be teaching your children at home. Now, you might be getting your syllabus on your WhatsApp from the school that they're enrolled in, or you may be considering homeschooling, or you might be homeschooling just for a year or two to give it a shot. Whatever your reason might be to be teaching your children at home, I wanted to share with you some of these things that we use on a very regular basis to make our homeschooling pop. Now, when you're teaching your children every day, I don't know about you, but I definitely find it a tad monotonous at times. I use certain syllabus material from the CBSE and from some of the other schools around. And I will make another video about that if you're interested, about how to create a syllabus while homeschooling. But today I wanted to talk how I add more meat to the lessons that we study every day. Now, if you're like me, you might want to shake up things every now and then. And I have done another video about this. I'm going to leave a link below. Do check it out. But these are the resources. These are my go-to places for researching my lessons, for adding audio-visual elements to the things that I'm teaching my son. Now, my first number one go-to is YouTube. And I'm not saying this because I'm an affiliate of YouTube or anything. No, because I really enjoy the content on YouTube. There is just so much to learn, and it's just not for my son, but even for me. I've learned so many different things to cook on YouTube. I've learned crafts on YouTube. And for my son, what I do is, let's say if I'm researching a lesson, let's say I am researching India or cuisines in India. I would go, first thing I will do is go to YouTube and search food, animated food videos for children, or cuisines of India for children. And you will be amazed by some of the things that pop up. There will often be a cartoon clip or a little animation video, or there might be a very short documentary on it. Another thing, if I'm teaching science, for example, I will say, let's say the solar system. Let's take the solar system as an example. I will say solar system videos for kids. And there will be all sorts of things from projects that you can do at home to animation videos and to little documentaries to even NASA clips of the solar system. There are so many things that pop up when you just put in what you want to learn about in the YouTube search bar. So, and the best thing, most of these, everything is free here. We even do some of our art and craft lessons by following artists and art teachers on YouTube. So, whatever it is you want to learn, whether you want to learn geography, science, art, craft, English, grammar, social studies, environmental science, natural history, whatever maths, whatever your subject is, type it into your YouTube search bar and enjoy, pick and choose. I would say first pick and choose what is appropriate for your child, what is it that will fit in with your lesson plan, and use it. I think one of the best things most children love to see is they want to see a clip, they want to see something that really brings to life what they have been learning in the pages of the books. Another resource that I love is Pinterest. I haven't been using it too much, but recently I was sitting down to make the lesson plans for class 2, the new grade that my son has gone into. So what I did, I took all the books from those classes, the textbooks that I had borrowed from a friend's child, and I would go chapter wise and search in the name of the lesson on Pinterest and see what kind of things Pinterest would pop up with. And it is amazing the kind of websites that you can access, the charts, free or paid resources, projects, craft projects, all centered around a particular lesson or subject. So do use Pinterest. How I would suggest is create a Pinterest account and create a folder called maybe homeschool. I even have folders like homeschool English, homeschool maths, and I just pin all my favorite ideas within it. And this is just for safekeeping. When I know that when I reach that lesson, I will open my Pinterest board and just go through it and search what is that I want, and read the websites or download the printouts or whatever it is, and put together a lesson for my son. So do use Pinterest. And remember, when you're watching Pinterest or using Pinterest, the idea is not to be Pinterest perfect. No. If you start comparing yourself with all the lessons that are posted on Pinterest, you might feel that you come up short. At least I do. But I don't use it as a tool to compare myself with, but more to inspire myself with. My next resource that I often use is online games. And there are so many free ones out there. So if I think, let me give you an example here. A few months back, we were doing a lesson on Amazon forests or the different kinds of forests. And we hit upon this game about Amazon forests, and it was a very simple game for small children. So it would teach the child how to control the mouse, and also how to track different things and understand different things found in the Amazon forest. So, for example, they would say, choose the macaws or the parakeets. I'm sorry, I forget what it was. See how many of these birds that you can, colorful birds that you can track flying in this Amazonian forests. And the child had to rush and take their mouse and clicker onto those birds and click on them, and get a maximum number of count ups of those creatures. Then we did a lesson on water pollution, and there was this game which came up about what was it? It was a beaver. Yeah, I think it was a beaver which is suffering from all the water pollution in his little pond, and you have to help the beaver clean up the entire pond. So you have to take the child has to take their mouse and the clicker onto different objects. So there would be glass. So there were all these bottles which were floating in the pond, and he had to round up all those bottles and put it in a virtual bin. Then there were these bits of paper. The child had to collect all the bits of paper using his mouse and put it in the recycling bin. Then there were all these plastic packets which were floating around, and they had to grind it up and put it in another bin. So this taught, when we did this lesson, first we talked about water pollution, and then we did this game, online game, and it taught my son so much about the that what are the different pollutants which clog our water supply, and what do we need to do with them. So it's a game, but you also learn something. And these the two examples that I've given you are just two examples. If you get online, you will find a multitude of websites with free online games. Just check that all of these are, you can access them, and these will not bring in any maybe viruses or anything. That's about it. And many of them are on really good sites. So NASA also has, for example, NASA has some really good galaxy games in there for the kids. So whatever subject you're choosing, just type out this name of the subject and online games and see what comes up. And these are not, I'm not talking about violent games. These are fun games which a child can enjoy. My next resource that I really enjoy is using documentaries, movies, and cartoons to teach. And all the resources that I'm talking about is scalable for whatever age group your child might be. If you have a small child, you can use these resources as per his viewing level. If you have a teenager or a preteen, you can use these, enhance the level of these and see what works for them. So when I say documentaries, if your child is a teenager, and you can use really serious documentaries of all kinds to learn about a whole gamut of subjects. My son and I also enjoy watching documentaries. We enjoy mostly the, like Nat Geo and wild animals, dogs, and these kind of things. And we also like to use movies and cartoons to teach a subject. I've again, YouTube is a good way to search for it. Netflix and Amazon Prime are also two of my other favorite resources for finding movies and documentaries and cartoons to help learn. Now, Again, let me give you an example. My son, we are trying to increase his Hindi vocabulary this year. And since we mostly speak in Bengali, which is our mother tongue, and English at home, we are also we generally open up Little Krishna videos or Hindi audio stories for him to listen to and pick up really good, enriching words to add to his Hindi vocabulary. In the same way, your subject could be anything. And for example, if you're doing dogs, maybe, or you're doing marine life, you can watch Finding Nemo and see that. Maybe you're learning about robos, and you can open up a movie or a documentary or a cartoon about robos and see how that relates to your lesson. The sky is the limit. It is up to your imagination and also a bit of searching power. You need to be really, a little persistent about finding the right material to correlate to the lesson that you're teaching your child. My next and last resource would be creating stuff, creating things together based on a lesson. Or before you get into a lesson, create a project and see how that correlates to the lesson. It can be done either ways. Let me give you some examples from our homeschooling days. We did this project we made this, I think we did an art project inspired by a particular artist. And my son created a whole painting on polar bears. We used that polar bear painting and then we did some videos, cartoon videos on the lives of polar bears. And then saw some real life clips of wildlife clips of polar bears in the wild. And then we did a little video on marine pollution and how it's affecting the polar bears. So you see, we started with an art project, and then we ended with oceanic pollution or marine pollution and climate change and how it's affecting polar bears and the creatures that live there. So there is a whole gamut of things that you can do, and I know I'm repeating that word again and again, but the reason I'm saying this is these are just a few simple resources which are available to most of us, and we can use these to tailor our lessons and bring those lessons to life. One of the most important things I have seen for a child to enjoy his lessons is that he needs to see it and immerse himself in it. Also, all children learn differently. Some children like to just read, some children are auditory learners, some are visual learners. But I believe that whatever kind of learner a child might be, they actually benefit from and enjoy a whole gamut of experiences. And it, rather than just being this is your chapter and you learn it and you write your answers and you mug them up for your exam, if we actually provide them these tools at hand, these are lessons they can remember for years and years and years. A simple, again, a little thing from my own life. When I was about 4 or 5 years old, at that time, obviously, we didn't have any of these resources, and our lessons, school lessons, were all about boring textbooks and mugging up. But at home, my mother used to tell me stories from National Geographic. We used to have these National Nat Geo magazines at home sometimes, and she would just tell me a short. She would pull out a story from it and tell it to me, narrate it to me in her own words. I remember she told me about huskies and about wolves in the wild and about grizzly bears, and I would just listen to them. And I still remember those stories now, and I'm still very fascinated about wildlife and these topics. So you never know what makes an impact and what leaves a lasting impression in your child's mind. And the best part is when you are using these resources, you enjoy teaching them as well. I can't say about you, but when I'm just looking at a textbook and teaching it to my son, I get so bored. But when I have these resources at hand, I feel alive myself and I actually look forward to it. And guess what? My son, when I pull out these resources and we are doing these resources, combining them with our lessons, my son says, "Oh, Mama, we had fun schooling today. We are just not homeschooling, we are fun schooling." And I think whatever reason you are teaching at home, you would like your time to be fun schooling as well, isn't it? So let me just give you a wrap up some of the resources: YouTube, Pinterest, online games available on websites, and documentaries, movies, and cartoons. Oh, yes, and creating stuff. And the sixth, which I forgot, was books and comics. If your child enjoys reading, you can, and even if he doesn't, you can always uh, bring in lots of different picture books, story books, and if they're older, novels, and even comics, like even Tintin exploring different countries, or Asterix and Cleopatra sort of comics, and weave these into your history lessons, into your science, into your language building lessons, and you can even bring Hindi comics if you're teach and Hindi bilingual books if you're teaching your child the Hindi language. So we have a whole box of books, and I really wish we had the public library system here in India, where we could just keep going and getting a whole stack of books whenever we want to. But irrespective of that, we can all access books online. We can access online books and audiobooks as well, and by hard, either get a Kindle or download these books on a Kindle app and show it to our children. And then there are so many of these online tools like Storybird. I think it's storybird.com, where illustrators and artists from the world around come together and put together storybooks for kids. So it's free, and you can actually look at it and come up with so many different storybooks. And then Pratham, I think it's called Storyweaver. Pratham has an online version where they post their stories online. And then there is obviously Audible, the audio stories and Audible. Then there is sparklestories.com. And then if you just Google, you'll find so many story apps and YouTube channels with all sorts of wonderful stories for you to use. So, I have talked about six tools that I use, and I do hope that you give these a shot. Maybe try them one at a time if you want, or pick and choose what wish works for you, or just go all out and try all these six resources and see how it changes your homeschool days. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if there is any question that you have about homeschooling your children at home, homeschooling long term or homeschooling during the lockdown and while the schools are closed, feel free to leave your question below in the comment section. And if you found this show useful, please share it with your friends who are homeschooling too, and give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. It'll really be great if you get onto my community and we can be on this journey together. I will see you in my next episode with a brand new show. Till next time, take care, stay well, be well, and bye.